Hola, buenos dias, good day, good night, good evening, wherever you are. Today's message, Mimick Yourself. Today's January 22nd, 2023. There's a lot of programming that continues to happen 24/7. And there's the saying or the question, does life imitate art or does art imitate life? Like, what we're looking at in the world now is very evident that we live in a world of followers. That was the program. That's the intention. So that people could be led on how to live, what to do, what to say, how to eat, how to drink, how to do everything in life. There's programs and there's schools and there's all kinds of things to show you and teach you. And most of those things, I'm not going to say all, most of those things have been put out there for control, to control people on how to be. And they tell you what success is, what success looks like. They groom you to be a certain kind of persona in society. And if you don't fit those rules or those ideas, then you're not in the club. You don't get to come in. I just saw a little video of Maya talking about, basically she didn't sell her soul in the industry, and that's why, she's where she is, but it wasn't worth it to her. And there's so many people who just said no, who were like, no, I'm not going to compromise myself over money or this situation. Like, it is not that serious ever. And some people are so led by the dollar, by the fake greenbacks, that they'll do whatever they have to do for it. And here's the thing too, it's not even just the money. As we can see in today's society, it's the attention, the fame, the popularity, the notoriety. Those are the reasons why people do the things that they do. And without that energy, without that attention, they will lose their minds. They don't know what to do if nobody's liking them, if nobody's loving them. Oh my gosh, they're losing followers. It's interesting when you look at it, but it's just a great example for what is and what we have been bred to believe, and to value what others think of us. There's just, in today's society, what others think of you. I don't think there's anything more important to them than that. And all of that just goes back to forgetting yourself, giving somebody else so much attention that without their approval, you don't feel good. That's a sickness. It is a sickness. And we're seeing evidence of that sickness all around the world. Hundreds and thousands of people go into depression over not being able to do what other people are doing online and social media. Their life doesn't look like what they think it should look like or what others think it should look like. And there's still a balance in life, even though sometimes it's difficult to see it because they're wanting to project something that's just unnatural and unreal. So you begin to find that balance when you start going into yourself, when you start going to nature, when you start communing with the Most High. When you start looking for yourself, you'll find it. And then all you have to do is mimic that. Mimic yourself like you would mimic your parents, the people that you see, people that you admire, heroes, and all of these different things. People got to learn that you got to be your own hero. And if you're not, you're always going to be depending on somebody else for your life force. And we weren't created to be like that. We're iNFiNiONaires, infinite beings. direct connections to source. There's nothing that we can't do, be, or have. It is our divine right. When you recognize that truth, you start living different. Your perception of life changes. And it changes to what you most desire. And what you most desire is what you're vibrating on every day. Not just what you believe, but what you know. And deprogramming poverty consciousness is something that you got to go to the root. It's not about physical money. It's not about the job that you have or you don't have. It's about you. It's always about you. It's always been about you. And fortunately, we are in a time where you can't hide from yourself anymore. You have to face it and make a decision one way or another. Who are you going to be? And start with who you are right now and why you are who you are right now. And if you don't like it, you got the choice to change it. Start putting new ideas into your mind about who you are. Take this time where you're single or alone or in a place where you don't know nobody, and just take the time to know yourself. Because when you know yourself, you're going to always attract the right somebodies. And everybody that you attract is part of your journey. Good, bad, or indifferent. It's all part of the game. You got to figure it out. And only you could figure it out. Nobody else could figure it out for you. Other people could help. They can, give you some assistance. Some by speaking, some by just being an example. But you're the one who has to make the choice on what direction you're going to go. And if you're scared, I'm not going to say that you can't be scared, because being scared, fear, all of those are realities that we exist in. It's about what choice do you make in that space of fear. Are you going to be stuck and not move and just not do anything because you're scared? Or are you just going to transform that fear and go ahead and jump? Take that leap. I've always chosen the latter. And it doesn't stop. And those elements and those ideas of fear and being scared, you flow differently in it, but it will present itself in your life in some way, shape, or form. But you go through it enough and you conquer enough fear where it becomes just something that when it happens in your life, you transform it, you flow in it, and then you go off to the next thing. But you can't go anywhere. In this new world that we're creating, you can't step out if you don't know yourself. You will get crushed. You will be completely 100% consumed. So if you don't know who you are, just don't go nowhere until you figure it out. Everything is on 10. Everything is amplified. All areas, whether it's low vibrational states, high vibrational states, everything is amplified. What you're vibrating on a consistent basis, that's what you're experiencing in your life. That's what your reality looks like. So when you start changing those things inside of you, the way that you think about yourself, who do you think you are, that's what's creating your future. And it is so important that you're protected by the energies that are being poured upon the planet every second of every day. And the challenges persist. You know what I mean? It's like this idea of thinking that you're going to be in a forever bliss. That's just not how it works. It can feel like that, but the challenges are part of the process of getting better, of evolution. Nothing is supposed to be the same. And if you want it to be better, you got to make it better. You got to be better for you. Not for anybody else, because it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks unless it's what you think. Sometimes people will say things and we think that we don't believe them, but the energy that we give to it, the attention that we give to it, shows the result of where we really are. So you could think that you're not letting something bother you because you're saying, oh, that don't bother me. I'm not tripping off of that. But if you're saying that every day, you're saying the same thing, and you're giving energy to that, and you're talking about how you're not tripping off of that, and in that time that you're talking about what it is that you're not tripping off of, you start to feel, a little irritation, get a little sassy. I ain't even tripping off of that. Well, that energy can't be faked. It's like the universe recognizes the vibration of what that is. And you're just going to bring into your experience that same energy that's causing you to take that moment to be like, I ain't tripping off of that. Because if you're not really tripping off of that, it's not even a thing. It's nothing. Like, you're flowing. You're not even going to take the time to say what you're not tripping off of, because you ain't tripping off of it. It's Sunday. And I've been just in this space of doing things that I haven't done, doing different things, allowing myself to lead myself in this experience that I'm having in life, and dealing with every situation as it comes, and not looking for situations, and not waiting for anything, just being. And so I do a lot of practicing and changing up routines or things and that comes naturally to me because I get bored quickly. And if I do something for too long, I got to switch it up. And I'm realizing that that's with everything in my life. And I'm grateful for that now, because I recognize that I change like the seasons, and every season is different. It's never the same. There are some things that are, like the same, like, okay, so that tree is going to lose its leaves and it's going to renew itself every season, but it's not going to be exactly the same. It's going to have flowers, but what will those flowers look like? I mean, they may kind of look like the same. They might be the same color, but when you go into the detail of what it is, you see how different each petal is from another. So this is just how it is in life. And it's okay to be those things and not be stuck in a routine that is uncomfortable. And uncomfortable to the point where it starts bringing your energy down. That's not what we're not supposed to do that. That's not what is meant for us. We are beings we're able to self-heal, self-replenish, all of these things. We're very powerful beings. And then when we connect to these nature sources, it makes our elevation and our journey a lot easier. The thing is, though, is that people have to stop thinking about what that looks like to other people, or what, being put in a category because, you like to put your feet in the sand or talk to trees or whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? This whole idea of what people put on somebody that does this or that or the other, That's just all that whole program of putting people in a group and making people, if you like this certain thing, then that means that you're this. And that's just not the truth. The truth is that we are infinite beings, and we have, every aspect of ourselves has its own personality, and we're able to express those different aspects of ourselves in this lifetime. But people, the powers that were, they wanted people to think that things like that are crazy, or they're weird, or that makes you odd. You have to be this one way all the time. And we've seen in their world that they've never been one way all the time. They project one way, but when you look behind the curtain, you really see what's going on. And the things that they do for power and control, and how they use natural resources and these energies that are available to us, they use it for, in a bad way. Any tool could be used for good or bad. It's up to the individual. And the individuals in the old world, the individuals that are, there's labels for it, but y'all already know what it is. It's the energy of that entity, these entities that have existed and have controlled the masses for eons. They're still going to do their thing. Don't get it twisted. They're still going to do their thing. But that thing does not have to include you. I want to share something with you it's so interesting how, just how life happens and how everything happens. And when we ask for something, it always comes. I've been studying about the island that I was born in, Borinquen, known as Puerto Rico. And I was tripping off of the fact that, I talked this a little bit about this yesterday, but I was just tripping off of the fact that anyone could just say, I hold stake of this land, it is my land, and whatever I say goes. And the people on that land are supposed to adhere to this whatever, based just upon a few people agreeing for like whole nations of people. It's crazy, and it's not right, and it's never been right. And here's the thing, is that they'll put things out there, but it's up to the individual to figure out what it is that is law. The law of God. Like, you have to experience that on your own so that you could look for it and find it and recognize that you are a free being. No one has any rights upon you unless you consent. And some people have been consenting unknowingly. Most people have been consenting unknowingly. So I want to share with you something that was shared with me. And I'm not going to share all of it, but I'm going to share some of it here because I just kind of got the idea to share this. And I want to thank Minister Partlow for sharing this confirmation with me. And if you're at Master Vibration 13, I'll be posting this so that you can check the whole thing out. Living in the private. Educate yourself. Ask questions. Verify everything. Your consent. You are born equal in standing to any other man or woman, and therefore, while you respect the equal rights of other men and women, no power can be granted over you without your consent. To believe otherwise is to be a slave. Maxim of law. Quod ad jus naturale attenet omnes omnies equales sunt. All men are equal as far as natural law is concerned. Men equals men, women equals people. Men equals men/women equals people. Every man is independent of all laws except those prescribed by nature. He is not bound by any institutions formed by his fellow men without his consent. Cruden versus Neal 2 N.C.338 1796 2 S.E.70. Your consent is your agreement for something to happen that involves your rights. Consent is voluntary or a matter of free choice and must be given willingly. Your consent is your agreement, permission, approval, or acquiescence, including your silent acquiescence. Possessing the right of consent means that you have the right of contract. Your contract to contract or not contract is inviolable. Your right to contract or not to contract is inviolable and unlimited. A sovereign man or woman, by definition, permanently reserves their right of consent and all their unalienable rights during their lifetime. Your right of consent is inborn, private, and antecedent to creation of the state, public. Representative governments are elected by and restrained by people who exercise their right of consent. Your right to give consent or to refuse consent is not suspended between elections. Indeed, it is only by not consenting to onerous, onerous, governance that it is possible to prevent the descent of governance into a state of exploitation, oppression, and tyranny. All governments, however politically organized, govern subject to the consent of the people, one and all, every day and every moment. The people of a nation are naturally above any government that they create, because that which is created can never be above its creator. The informed and freely given consent of each man and woman is what gives rise and maintains the law of the nation, which is the law of the land. As the maxim of law says, consent makes the law. Consent to be true must be fully informed and willing, and otherwise is falsely obtained and revocable. Any man or woman who has given their consent under conditions of non-disclosure, deceit, or coercion can withdraw their consent retroactively or now for then non-pro-tunc, nunc-pro-tunc, undoing the entire matter, correcting any errors or omissions caused. Maxim of law. And just for those who, I believe that this is in Latin, I'm just doing the best that I can. I don't, speak the language. Well, I don't remember it in this lifetime right now, but here we go. Non videntur qui errant consentire. He who errs is not considered as consenting. Maxim of law. Nihil tam naturale est quam eo genere quidque dissolvere quo collegiatam est. Idio verborium obligatio verbis tolitur nudi consensus. Obligatio contrario consensu dissolvutir. Nothing is so natural as to dissolve anything in the way in which it was bound together. Therefore, the obligation of words is taken away by words. The obligation of mere consent is dissolved by the contrary consent. De facto incorporated governments also cannot possibly have jurisdiction over de jure living people. unless by fully disclosed and willful consent. Each and every statute enacted by government legislation requires consent from each and every man and woman, including you. But consent is given in many ways, often unknowingly. The definition of the word consent includes yield and to give way to. The moment you agree to anything you are asked to do, you are giving consent. And I'm going to pause real quick. Facebook, for example, has been one of the programs that has made it so that people are unknowingly giving consent just by agreeing and by doing and by following the herd, So, okay, going back to the read. If an artificial person name gets a parking ticket in a legal fiction commerce, if an artificial person, the name in all caps, gets a parking ticket in legal fiction commerce, it is an invitation for a living man or woman to pay. And if you pay it, you are consenting to the ticket contract. Even the police need your consent. Before an officer can arrest you, they must read your rights and then ask, do you understand? Stand under their authority. And if you say yes, you are consenting. The origin of all legal jurisdiction over you is your given consent. All statute, codes, rules, regulations, and so-called bylaws are commercial contracts written by your government that require your fully informed consent. Any state document requiring a signature is a contract by consent. If you do not consent to a statutory contract, it is not enforceable on you. Any attempt to make you consent against your will is coercion. Any threat to make you sign a contract to obtain your property is duress for the purpose of extortion. Whether or not that property, such as money, is obtained, any legal person, actor, who attempts to compel you into joinder to the legal artificial person name, in all caps, without the full disclosure of any information that may influence your decision whether or not to consent, commits the crime of personage, a crime involving deceit under Section 240 of the New Zealand Crimes Act. When acting in the role of an artificial person, you are contracting to give a performance. This goes on, and I'm not going to read the... Actually, it's actually not. Wait. Okay, this doesn't go on and on, so I'm going to go ahead and... Oh, okay, well, maybe it did. I just kept scrolling. But that's a good stop. If you want to check it out, mastervibration13.com. I'm putting that in the blogs. It is important to check it out. There are different ways for you to be able to recognize who you are, to be the administrator of your life. There's many ways to do that. And if you were looking for a way to do that, seek and ye shall find. You can send a text to 818-233-5776 and we'll take it from there. Let me know that you're looking for a way and I will connect you with someone who will help you on that way. And that's all I will say. Those of you that are part of Master Vibration 13, thank you for being here. Look out for these messages that'll come every now and again. I will be talking to those who I am talking to when I am talking in recordings such as this. It'll just be what it is. No information further will be given to anyone who is not part of MasterVibration13.com, a private member association, auxiliary of iNFiNiONaiRE Ministries. And that's all I will say about that. H13. Enjoy your day. Adios. Wait. My whole point to sharing that with you is so that you could understand, so that you could remember, so that you could know that you are free. And it is up to you to claim that freedom. In which path you want to do that, that is up to you. On my path in my life, I've chosen to administer and be a minister in my life. Be a minister of what I do, what I live, what I say. I have that right. It is my religion, and it is what I practice every single breathing day. And within that, I recognize, and all who know me recognize, that I am self-governed. There is no authority over me but the Most High. And so that's what I practice and live every day. And this is something that people are needing to make this decision now. And so I just want to share my decision with those that have ears, those that are ready to hear what it's like over here on this side. There is no government over the Most High, ever. And in my life, I have found so many people on the same path, on different journeys. Or, on the same journey, but different paths. It's like we're remembering who we are, and we're being guided from within. And when you're guided from within, you don't need a gazillion people telling you that you're right about something that you know, because you feel it and you experience it every single day. And you can't bring somebody into your reality to live what you're living. I pray that you get the message. I know that you are, because you're listening to this right now. So big ups to you. And thank you for your time today. Adios.